to stay awake. Everybody got a story, everybody got a way. Funny how the phones go quiet when he name names. Funny how the pressure rise when he shift the conversation. He talks schools, streets, money disappearing. Backdoor deals that the public ain't hearing. Things get buried when the cameras don't roll, but the people tune in, cause Gerod let it unfold. From the jazz in the streets to the smoke in the sky, the wall is still fighting, still holding it high. And the city feels seen every time that he speaks, cause the truth hit harder when it finally run deep. Now the whole town riding with the station on loud, hands high while they sing every word through the crowd. Can you feel the city breathing? Every late night conversation, through the speakers, through the rain. Ooh, New Orleans, don't sound the same. Gerod on the radio, oh, whole city vibing slow. Late night lights in New Orleans glow. Everybody listen close. Gerod on the radio, oh, truth in the speakers for sure. From the bayou streets to the corner store, whole city locked in. Yeah. You're now rocking with Gerod, the voice they couldn't silence. New Orleans, stand up.
Whoa, now. What's happening, good people? How's everybody? Welcome to Monday. It is Monday, and the reality check is on your radio. Yes, it is. Hoping everybody had a great weekend in the building, having some conversation with us. The extraordinary one, Suzette Bagnaris, is in the building. Well, how are you doing?
I am doing well, Gerard. How are you?
I'm tired now.
You're tired?
Oh, let's see. I get a whipping when I come by you.
Mm-hmm.
I get a whipping when I'm over here.
Yes, indeed.
So it's an interesting day. Just an interesting day. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I was able to catch up on a lot of things that I needed to do around the house and regroup and just kind of unwind. You know, after my week, I really don't have much energy left for anything.
Nope.
To be quite honest.
Nope.
So I need that time to really just regroup.
Yeah. What did I do the weekend? Sat down. I actually did something. I know you're gonna go, what? I went and worked out.
Very good. I'm happy to hear that. We're both turning over a new leaf today. That's what we said.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both trying to start eating right and exercising and just taking care of ourselves a little bit better.
So I went over to my Anytime Fitness location, and I think the first thing that I'm very cognizant of is the fact that I got this belly. Got to get rid of this belly. So I was doing my workout, and I'm thinking I'm doing, everything I need to do with nobody judging you, nobody saying nothing. I come all the folks walked up. What's up, man? What's going on? You're Gerard, huh? You better put that work in. And one of the folks that are they do extreme type of workouts were like, man, we need to get you in the extreme workout. I went to that extreme workout over in the corner just for a minute. I couldn't even stand it. I was like, I need to start at the beginner level. Y'all are already doing this thing. I need to start at the beginner level.
You need to ease into it. That's
so
for sure.
I did that on Saturday. Sunday, of course, went to church and say hello to all of my folks and hung out. I got to say happy marriage. Congratulations to Thaddeus and Laquita Williams, who got married. They're two of my church members. I told them that I was going to do that and say happy marriage to them. And I knew that we had a couple of programs on our church, agenda. But other than that, that's just making me say we got a lot of stuff going on. And then, of course, I got a couple of calls from folks that are part of the law firm or have stuff that they wanted to be a part of the law firm. And that's basically it. Nothing else. But that took enough out of me.
That's enough. That's enough. It just
Yeah.
sounds like a lot you had going on.
All right, so let's talk because we got a lot of stuff going on in the city.
There's so much going on today. So I don't know where you want to start, but today begins jury selection in one of the most extraordinary federal criminal cases in New Orleans. Sean Alfordish and Leon Chunky Parker are standing trial in connection with the murder of Cornelius Garrison, a man who allegedly participated in that massive staged accident operation and then began cooperating with the FBI. This case started with, staged 18-wheeler and automobile crashes and people allegedly packed into vehicles, and then slammers allegedly caused intentional collisions. 18-wheelers were targeted because they have big policies, and personal injury claims were filed. Insurance settlements were pursued, and lawyers involved, were making a lot of money initially. That's story one. And then, we have this situation where Cornelius Garrison, who was the witness, ends up getting killed. So on September 18, 2020, Garrison was federally indicted, and 4 days later, he was shot to death.
Wow.
That timing is chilling. But timing, isn't enough to convict somebody of murder, but the government has to build, that bridge. And that is what I'm watching in this case. I think it's a very interesting case. I think it's one to watch. I can't wait to see how it plays out. As you know, there have been people who have already been convicted in connection with the accident staging situation, one of which was Alfordish's fiance, Vanessa Mata. So it'll be very interesting to see how this case plays out. It's one to watch.
And Mata was a former stunt person too, right?
I find that interesting, and I don't know why they didn't talk about that more in her civil case, because to me, she knew exactly how to make these crashes happen and to do so without getting hurt. So I think that was a very interesting fact that you and I were talking about that really just was not brought out a whole lot in that case. But this is a criminal trial, and it's going to be interesting to see how this really plays out and how the jury receives that evidence.
I do think that there is a connection.
I think so.
To say that you are a crash or a person that does stunts.
Right.
You just don't run up on an 18-wheeler and say you're going to crash into it.
Right. And she tried to play naive at her civil trial, and I think that's what backfired on her. I don't think the jury saw her as naive. I think they saw her as very savvy. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all of this plays out.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And then the second thing I want to talk about is this Camp 57, ICE 47, and following the money. So
what?
Yeah. So look, very interesting. Camp 57 is also marketed as Louisiana Lockup. It's an ICE detention center sitting inside of the Louisiana State Penitentiary. Think about how unusual that is. You have a federal immigration detention operation inside of a Louisiana state prison, operated, though, through a private corrections company. So I did a little homework on that private corrections company. Turns out big contributors to the Landry campaign.
Really?
Absolutely.
Follow the money.
Follow the money. So the Ryan Horvath and Wesley McConnell have been identified as the managers, and Billy McConnell founded LaSalle Corrections Business. And when you start looking at the campaign finance reports for Landry, you see these individuals and you see their companies all over the campaign finance reports, which makes me wonder, is that part of the plan with regard to homelessness and making it criminal? Are we going to also send the homeless population there and allow these people to make
Yes.
the $50 million that we want for that money?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so too. I think it's all about dollars and cents.
Yes.
Why would you, as a governor, want to take over the homeless program of a state and not tell the people this is what, or try to help the people? Your last interaction with the homeless in New Orleans was basically put them in a camp, out there by the river, and let them stay in this dilapidated building, but we're going to spend $16 million on it, and it's not even suitable for a base camp.
Right.
It's not suitable. And your friends are the ones that's getting these contracts.
Yeah, and $46 million of Louisiana's budget is dedicated to Camp 57, the ICE detention operation at Angola.
So that means that if you're homeless and you're sleeping on the street, we're going to put you in an ICE facility.
And there's another $50 million coming just to deal with the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
So this means a windfall of a whole lot of money for some campaign contributors.
It sounds like over $100 million.
Yeah, it does.
That's what it sounds like. I'm just looking around and saying to myself, I'm going to throw the rock and hide my hand. I'm just basically going to do this, and you all are not going to really know what type of money is going to be involved, or who's going to get what, or who's sharing this with who. This
Contracts, kickbacks,
right,
subsidiaries,
and probably no bid
subcontractor.
contracts.
Yeah, I don't see where it was a bid contract. I don't see where it went out for bid. It's very interesting how all of this is playing out. And it's more money that you want to take, from other municipalities that really are struggling and could use the money. You want to redirect it to your friends.
Yeah.
And also after they started to criminalize homelessness as well. So it's like they had to have their hands in several pots in order to make this all line up.
Oh, the voice that you're hearing too, she's with us. Yes, indeed, she's here.
Hello, hello.
Dr. Shepherd's in the building. How are you?
I'm doing well.
How's your weekend?
My weekend was okay.
When is the jet lag going to kick in?
It's already kicking in. I'm sleepy. My body is still on Africa time. Right now it's like 11 p.m. I went and I bought me a Coke. It hasn't kicked in yet.
No?
No, I'm tired.
How long were you there? You were there for a while.
Yeah, like 5 weeks.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're not you're not even awake.
No.
Just remind me, don't ride with you in the car.
Oh.
The other story too that I wanted to bring up was this one. As the sheriff, Michelle Woodfork, is wanting to end the federal jail oversight.
Yeah, we touched on that last week. We talked about the fact of what the newly released report says are the deficiencies in the prison, and how we are seeing a correlation between what they found during the Hudson administration and what we're still seeing in the Woodfork administration. And we talked about the fact that I don't think that anyone has the wherewithal to address the problems in the report without funding. And where are they going to get the funding to address the problems? I don't think that Hudson was financially equipped to address the problems. I don't think that Woodfork is financially equipped to address the problems. So the problems, as we see, are just shifting administrations, but remaining, because we're seeing the jailbreaks and we're seeing the violence inside the jail, and we're not seeing the number of deputies to ratio to inmates being addressed, and we're not seeing the appropriate training, and we're not seeing the infrastructure being fixed. So, I don't think either one of these women can be held to be criminally negligent, civilly negligent, under the circumstances, if you're not going to try to fund their operation. And this was something that I personally discussed with Susan. I told her she needed grant writers because she wasn't getting the money from the city of New Orleans. She wasn't getting the money from the state. There's a lot of money that is designated to DOJ issues, as we're talking about with this prison situation in Angola, and how the Louisiana State Penitentiary is getting all of this money. There's a lot of money available under the DOJ, but you need a grant writer who knows how to find the grants and write the grants and lobby in D.C. and get you the money. That's the only way I see them addressing the issues that are being found by the monitors that Africa's appointing and digging out from under this crisis.
So there's a lot of money that is available through the DOJ. But the question has been in this administration, because of the fact that this is a this is more so a Democrat-led facility, city. Will that money start to flow through?
Well, she did appoint Stephen Gillette, who's the biggest Republican operative I can think of in the state.
Right.
He is Scalise's best friend.
Ooh.
He is very close to Landry. He has close ties to Liz Muriel. He has been a Republican strategist for as long as I have known him. And, you know, if anybody can go to D.C. and get the money or get Landry to go to D.C. and get the money, it's Stephen Gillette.
Mm-hmm.
He was on her transition team. So, you know, I don't know how you can do better than that if you're looking for money.
I just don't think that means nothing these days. In this type of political situation, you know, being on somebody's transition team could just mean that your face is on somebody's transition team. You don't have to be working with the person just to be able to say, oh, they're on my transition team.
Well, then she needs to hire him in some capacity so that he can be her lobbyist. She can, if you're going to spend money, hire somebody who can lobby for you to get federal funding. I think that's where her focus needs to be, because without federal funding, she cannot address any of these problems, and she's going to end up looking just as bad as Susan. You're criticizing Susan, but right now, you are Susan, and you're going to stay Susan until you figure out how to get some federal money.
Help us, Jesus. I was not expecting that.
I know you wasn't. I saw it took you out just a second. So.
It's all right. You should have fanned me or something. I was not ready for that.
Y'all
one.
don't agree with that?
I was just not ready for
We
that.
just wasn't expecting
I
to
just
go in
how
that way.
You is Susan.
She's
that
calling
angle.
Susan
You is Susan.
incompetent.
You is Susan.
You remember she called Susan incompetent, right? I could play it back for you on Instagram.
I got it.
Okay. She called Susan incompetent because people were escaping from the jail, and she said Susan was mismanaging and all that kind of stuff. And she was going to do so much better. Well, clearly, you didn't understand.
So you
money is directly tied to your ability to make these changes.
Well, you're always supposed to run and put your opponent down. That's just part of the game. That's just good old New Orleans politics.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful when you do that, because
It come back on and bite you.
it will come back and bite you. And I really do think it is biting her. And she needs to be having a moment where she's starting to realize that, hey, this is starting to happen to me. Maybe I shouldn't have said it.
little steak sauce.
What are you talking about?
I need a little
Biting
salt
her.
and pepper.
For what?
It's gonna come back and bite you.
Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah, it's coming back to bite her.
We got more coming up, folks. We gotta take a break. More next.
Hire a grant writer, my girl. Hire a grant writer.
That's right. It's party time each and every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on WBOK. It's the Throwback Throwdown with DJ Wick as he brings you the best in old school from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2Ks. Plus, the party goes to another level at 9 p.m. with the Throwback Throwdown Party Mix to round out the night. It's the Throwback Throwdown Sunday nights at 7 p.m. on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
New Orleans is built to host, and at the New Orleans Ernest and Memorial Convention Center, it is where big ideas, major events, and careers come together under one roof. As the 6th largest convention center in the country with a team recognized as a national top workplace, we are proud to power the events that keep our city moving forward. Our staff of more than 450 brings nearly 3,900 years of combined experience, an average of almost 9 years each. If you're looking for a robust benefits package, career stability, and opportunity, visit mccno.com to explore open positions today.
This is Andronika Morris, host of Put Housing First. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, where we will discuss how housing affects every aspect of our lives and what's necessary, what's needed to guarantee housing for all. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock as we dig down deep onto the issues that affect all of us.
Did you hear the news? Dr. Clark's 101 The Living Classroom has a new time. Catch us now every Wednesday at noon. Same program, same great conversations. Just a new time. So catch Dr. Clark's 101 The Living Classroom this Wednesday and every Wednesday only on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Don't do that to me when I'm giving.
Right on the air.
More coming up of this conversation when we're talking about what needs to happen in this city. But you're telling that she needs to get a grant writer. But the city is saying, we're not going to give you the money because we don't have nothing to give.
Well, on
I
what
think the
ground?
city is lying that they don't have no money.
You keep saying that, but you know what? I keep seeing broke everywhere I look. So, and the city doesn't have the money to give her. The state has money to give her, but they're not yet giving it to her. I think she needs to get her good friend now, Steve Gillette, to call his good friends in D.C., the Republican Congress, and get some money down here so that she can deal with serious problems regarding violence, drugs, inadequate supervision, staffing shortages, failures in security rounds, mental health deficiencies, overcrowding, and classification issues. If she doesn't get some federal money in here, we might as well just keep calling her Susan.
I'm
was
just
about
sorry.
to say
I was
something.
just not ready for that one. Call her Susan.
I was about to say something.
That's a good one though. I like that. So anybody asks me from now on, Susan is your sheriff.
It's the same situation, but all to say, I understand she has inherited these problems. I get it. But guess what? So did Susan.
Susan Woodfork?
Yes. No, Susan
Wow.
Hudson inherited the problems too. And now Susan Woodfork has inherited the problems. And guess who's going to be next? Susan, whatever the next sheriff's name is, because they're going to continue to have the problems until they get an influx of federal money in. Now, one of the things, you not only need somebody who can write the grants, you need somebody with the wherewithal who knows how to manage the grants. Clearly, Susan Hudson did not have that because they kept blowing deadlines on managing their grants. If you don't believe me, go look at the budget. You'll see they were blowing their deadlines. So, you need somebody who can identify grants out there, write the grants, and manage the grants. To me, you need that more than some of these other hires you're making.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well, I had a question. So, on what grounds is she asking for there to be an end of federal oversight? Like, what is
She
she
thinks
charting
everything
as
is
the
beautiful.
progress that means that they should no longer have it?
Well, I just don't think that you've been here long enough to be able to give us
We
that,
just
that
don't
type of
want it.
information.
Oh, she's saying that she just don't want it.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't want to have to go report to Africa. She doesn't want the monitors to continue to come in and evaluate her situation. I know why you don't want them to do it, because it's the same situation.
Susan. I just wanted to call.
Girl, y'all got us messed up. Y'all think we don't see? We see.
So
And until you get some money in there, you're in the same situation.
So when you talk about the compliance
I would
part,
cash app y'all, but
you got it. So when you got these issues of
it ain't tricking if you got it.
trickster, but if you have the, which honestly we have not had the right conversation.
Okay.
When I say the right conversation, when you ask something like this, you better be able to back it up. That's number one. And I don't know if anybody's ever known. I know you know, but you don't play with Lance Afric.
Oh, no, you don't. You do not.
So you're going to learn because you're going to learn today. But the other part of Lance Afric's ability is he's going to ask, what's the compliance issues? How many compliance issues have you settled?
Have you satisfied?
You have not been there long enough, unless you're trying to attach yourself to the last compliance, piece that came from Susan
She can't possibly.
Hudson. It
It's
was.
197 pages, the last compliance report,
Mm-hmm.
and it spans from July through December of 2025. It's 197 pages of deficiencies. There is no way that Michelle Woodfork has addressed and fixed the 197 pages of deficiencies
Oh,
in
my.
the short amount of time that she has been there.
Mm-hmm.
So she would have to literally, in my view, take each issue, each section of the 197 page report and provide evidence to Judge Afric as to how she has turned the situation around for each one of those areas of non-compliance. If she can't do that, well, then I think her chances of getting the consent decree lifted are slim to none. And they should be slim to none.
I just don't think that you understand what the compliance issues are.
I understand. I read
No,
the
I ain't talking about you.
197 page report.
But I ain't talking about you. I'm really talking about the folks that are over there. I really don't think, because all the folks that understood the compliance issues, when I tell you there was many more compliance issues with that jail, and the biggest compliance issue with that jail has been about manpower. You can't tell me that we're going to fix this being out of this consent decree when we can't afford to pay the people over $18 to $20 an hour that are overseeing the jail, that are watching these inmates, that are being a part of the fabric that we need. Plus, we just built another $100 million facility to do mental health, and we have to put 80 new guards in there, and we don't have them.
It's more than 80.
New ones.
Well, as I read the report, the staffing levels, it was a deeper void. than that.
250.
Right.
It's 250 staffing levels for the jail. It ain't 250 for the mental health wing. It's 80 for the mental health wing.
Right. So can she show us where she's hired all those people?
No.
She can't. And unless she can show Judge Afric that she has hired all of those people and that she has addressed the staffing level problem, I just don't think that the oversight should be lifted. The key number from our review last week that we discussed on the air was that the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office was more than 200 employees. I knew it was more than that. 200 employees below what was considered optimal staffing.
Right. That's what
With
I just
the
said.
jail staff vacancy rate in the neighborhood of 28%. That is enormous for a secure correctional facility. This is not simply a human resource problem. The monitor connects insufficient manpower to the things that the public actually cares about, like posts not being adequately covered, which means why you got people hanging out in a garbage can trying to escape.
At the cellar port.
Excessive reliance on overtime, staff fatigue, inadequate direct supervision of detainees, missed or deficiency security rounds, which is why they're having suicides and stabbings and all these other things going on over there. And until she complies with getting the staffing right, which how you're going to do that if you don't have the money, I don't think Judge Afric is going to release her from the obligation of being monitored. Nor do I think he should. As we said last week, like 90% of the people who are being held over there at the Orleans Parish Justice Center are people who are awaiting trial. They are still innocent until proven guilty.
Right. This is not a prison.
No, this is not. This is a jail. It's different. So these are not people who have been convicted and sent off to time.
They are not proven guilty.
They're not. So this could be your brother, niece, cousin, or uncle who got picked up for something and
they're
is still
being
waiting.
held for exorbitant amounts of time.
Yes, in a very dangerous
Right.
facility.
Because one of the things we were talking about were the people that were in there that just can't afford the bail, that are in there because you got a whole bunch of tickets. You got stopped. You're in there for a whole bunch of tickets, and you can't afford the bail, so you got to stay in there. Or somebody that had another misdemeanor charge just can't afford the bail, and they're in there.
Right.
Now, whose fault is that? That's a good question.
I think it, again, comes down to not watching your budgets and not seeking your funding that is available to you federally.
Mm-hmm.
Not having the right people on your team to go identify and get the money and relying upon a city that always remains in budget crisis. The sheriff has several realistic places to go look for money. The April 2026 legislative auditor report found that Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office payroll rose 55.1% from $30.1 million in 2022 to $46.7 million in 2025, while staffing still did not keep pace over time. That means she's giving people raises, but not hiring the people that the auditors say she needs.
But currently?
Yeah, that's what it's saying. If you went from 55.1, and I'm not talking about Michelle, I'm talking about the sheriff's office in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
55.1% from 30.1 million in 2022 to 46.7 million in 2025. Staffing, you're not hiring new people, you're giving pay raises inside your organization. So, that's a problem.
But don't they get paid a little bit, though?
They may be.
They don't be
but
getting
again,
paid a lot.
you got to find the money somewhere.
But
Right.
a lot of those
Okay.
folks that are receiving the wages are also being promoted, meaning that you're getting another rank. If you're getting a higher rank, if you go from just a regular officer to a sergeant, from a sergeant to a lieutenant, you're going to have to get that wage increase. And some of those wages that I've heard from different deputies, and some of them have quit, are ridiculous. They're ridiculously low.
Right.
So what do? You either give them more money or they're going to quit anyway. And then, we're in a situation, especially in law enforcement, where you got to figure out what's your retention rate. You got to make sure that you're doing stuff to keep these men and women. And the majority of them just want better pay wages because they're ridiculously low anyway.
But look, the DOJ Bureau of Justice Assistance has the Second Chance Act. This may be one of the strongest fits for Orleans Parish. They provide funding to state and local governments and correctional systems for reentry, which we tried to get Susan to do, right? Behavioral health, employment, education, transition services for people leaving jails and prisons. So, that's where she can get some money. Also, she could use the DOJ funding, will also give her money for training, of her staff, which would help to increase their salaries. If you train them, they qualify for more pay. So DOJ also has funding for staffing to hire more people, training, contraband detection, which is one of the things she's being cited for, mental health services, technology, and reentry programs. Also, the Louisiana Commission on Law Enforcement gives grants that are available for state public safety appropriations. So she's just got to know where to look.
But I just want you to understand, when you're reading these different things, when you're saying that these things are happening and they're available through DOJ, that's available through DOJ for everybody across the United States that's looking.
Right, but Landry,
it ain't just her.
It's Trump's boy.
So how many?
And they usually support incarceration.
But how many of them do you think that he has that are supporting incarceration? How many of those folks across the country are Trump's boys?
I don't know, because he's giving Landry money for ICE detention right now.
He's giving Arizona the same thing. He gave to Arizona some. He gave not Chicago. Was it Minneapolis? That's why they were in there shooting folks.
Yeah, I agree though that there's always money to incarcerate people. There's always money for jails. There's always money for people to expand their police department and to incarcerate more people. So maybe she just needs the grant writer in order to be able to know where to go and get the money. Because if you look at those government sites, there's always tons of money available.
Right.
You just got to know how to be able to go and
I
write
just
the
know
right
that
grant.
Susan went and got a whole bunch of it because we didn't have. They didn't have vests to save their lives just in case something happened. They didn't have the Axion body cams at all. So it was actually your word against somebody else's word. So she got a whole bunch of those. They didn't have radios. So
That's
if
wild.
so if you in jail and something happening to you or
You
something's
gotta go
happening,
run to another person.
you don't even have
That's
a radio
crazy.
to tell them about it. So you got all of these different pieces of equipment, and I know it wasn't cheap.
Mhm.
So
Well, also, there's $1.4 billion in federal funding for opioid response money. One of the findings that they have stated is a drug problem
Mhm.
at OPP. Apply for some of that money. That means she should be sitting down with LDH and asking how much Louisiana SOR money is currently reaching the Orleans Parish.
So they
Jail.
got $900,000 for opioid. What's the Narcan? The Narcan, and making sure that if anybody
Don't
had OD,
overdose.
yeah, so they could
Uh-huh.
do the Narcan.
Mhm.
There was two different agencies that came in and wanted to take that money from OPSO.
Mm.
How that happened, I don't know. But it was, I think it's through the state that they didn't want us to have that Narcan.
Well, also the DOJ has a COPS office program that provides law enforcement mental health and wellness act program, and they can also pull some money from there to support their officers for things like working mandatory overtime, burning out, experiencing trauma, those kinds of things. I mean, this is just this money is everywhere for corrections.
Mhm.
To be quite honest, don't look for it for education.
No,
Right.
no.
Okay,
But-
don't look for it for health care.
It's like the Department of Defense. Like when they gonna say we
Right.
don't have money
No,
for
the
war.
federal government, and particularly this Trump administration, loves to support being, incarcerating
Right.
people. So if anybody can find money at a time like this, it's people who are in corrections.
Mm.
And just like we just talked about, over $100 million looking like it's going to the Louisiana State Penitentiary for, incarcerating people. Michelle needs to get on that train. She needs to get on that train.
I ain't trying to take up for her. I just know that, it's easier said than done, because that good old boy network is strong in there. It is strong.
So are you saying that because their network is strong, then they don't want for her to succeed? So they're gonna allow her to not receive funding until maybe they try to uproot her out of her position or put in a good old boy and then they gonna fund it? Is that what you mean?
Let's put it in perspective, because I think that's what you're trying to do. The perspective that I see has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with New Orleans.
Okay.
So I don't think that anybody in any part of the state or in a part of, the federal government is right now trying to help New Orleans.
Okay.
And don't
Got it.
forget, just to show you that, what we should be looking at is that our governor just took $1 million away from a facility that needs more help than any other entity that you could think of. And that's what we're saying, hey, here we are, that you all are supporting everywhere else.
Mhm.
Why would you take $1 million from us?
Well, if she's not going to get more money, she's going to head down this same road.
Down that
without
rabbit hole.
change.
It's right straight down that rabbit hole. So how do you start looking at what needs to be done? Plus, you're going to have the media looking at you. Plus, you're going to have Judge Afric looking at you. And then you kind of spoke big girl words when you were taking it on from the previous people. You spoke a whole lot of big girl words. So what's your game plan on this? Plus, you got all these big folks that were standing on the stage with you. Where they at? Because I haven't heard jack doo-doo from them. Have you?
No.
Have you?
No.
So you got everybody that
Although
got a
I
title.
did see Ike Spears swearing people in to run for elected office. I thought that was very interesting since he handpicks a lot of candidates every year. And now he's swearing them in. So that's another hat he's going to wear. I'm going to pick him. I'm going to swear him in. And I don't know what other roles she's going to give him to do.
I don't know what that's about.
I found it
saw a
very
lot of-
interesting.
I mean, he is a lawyer, right?
He is a lawyer.
So he has the judicial I guess, credibility to be able to swear somebody in to take an oath. You too. You could do it.
Well, no, I think that's a specific task that she has deputized him to do. I don't think I could just go swear people in anyway. I can't administer an oath. So, I mean, it's very interesting. I'm not really understanding how that works, how you select candidates, foster their campaigns, and swear them in.
Wasn't she one of his?
Yes.
Okay.
One of her supporters.
All right. We got to take our next break. We'll take another break here. We'll come back. Have some more conversation on just a minute, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
On Auto Trends with JeffCars.com, here's a snippet of some of what we cover. GPS pioneer Gladys West.
We worked long hours computing trajectory orbits and satellite orbits, trying to get the data and everything correct enough.
Auto analyst Mark Bland.
14 new vehicle deals that happen in this country out of every 100 that women don't have a fingerprint on.
To tune in, check out Auto Trends with JeffCars.com, Saturdays at 4 p.m. on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
What if you could pull up a chair at the same table as your doctors? Join me, Kimber White Dupree, as I welcome board-certified physicians, Dr. Princess Dinner and Dr. Darlanda Reno Harris. For Table Rounds, we're bringing those meaningful medical conversations out of the hospital and into our community. Health topics that matter most, from the health disparities and menopause to mental health and much more. Table Rounds with Dr. Princess Dinner and Dr. Darlanda Reno Harris. Every fourth Monday at 10 a.m. on the front porch, because better conversations lead to better health.
Hey New Orleans, it's Doc Griggs. Tune in every Thursday from 12 to 1 p.m. for Doc Talk and get checked, get fit, get moving.
We are the rhythm of the streets.
The flavor in every dish.
The story in every song.
We are New Orleans Tourism and Cultural Foundation.
We help artists build the future of New Orleans.
Because when the culture thrives, our people thrive.
Every note, every brushstroke, every dish is a door opening new possibilities for those who carry our traditions forward. And when we open that door, the whole city moves forward. For New Orleans Tourism and Cultural Foundation, culture is our open door.
Extended through Labor Day, Louisiana residents get half off general admission to the National World War II Museum. Take advantage of 50% off and beat the summer heat at New Orleans' #1 attraction. Don't wait. Plan your visit at nationalworldwar2museum.org.
New Orleans parents, is your child preparing for the ACT? Top Tutors for Us provides personalized test prep designed for African American students who will connect with tutors who look like them from top HBCUs. Our students receive targeted instruction, consistent practice, and the encouragement they need to raise their scores and compete for college scholarships. Founded right here in New Orleans, our award-winning program was designed with our students in mind. Don't wait until test day. Visit TopTutorsForUs.com and help your child begin preparing today.
If someone asks,
Yeah!
let them know you listen to WBOK. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. In the building, having conversation on today. The attorney extraordinaire is in the building. Suzette Bagnaris. And of course, we got the professor extraordinaire. Yes, indeed.
Hey, folks.
What you say? What's going on, Dr. Shepard?
Oh, everything is good.
On your Africa time.
Yes, my heart and my body still feel like it's inside of Africa. And you know, South Africa is 7 hours ahead. So if it's
So you already into tomorrow then.
it's 11:48 right now.
You need to go to sleep.
I do. I feel like I need to crash.
Ooh, Lord. Your conversation here, when we start talking about what we see in our recall efforts, one has already failed, and that's the recall for the Baton Rouge mayor.
Correct.
Gone.
2,000 signatures. That's all they got.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
How many did they need?
They needed, let's see. I can tell you in a second.
2000
Yeah,
is really
yeah,
bad.
it was pathetic.
Where's our democracy? Where's the people who want to show up and do? That is so sad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And so now, the question is, can we meet the upcoming deadline for Landry and Mural? And of course, it's all over NOLA.com.
They needed 47,297.
They needed 47,000 in 180 days, and they got 2,000.
They needed 47,297.
They had 1,118 valid signatures.
Oh my goodness! So they fell short like 46,000 signatures.
Yes, and now it's plastered all over NOLA.com, and I'm sure the governor's gloating that that this particular recall situation is falling apart because the organizers have fallen out.
We did the interviews of the two of the leaders from the leadership of the recall, and I think both of us were sitting there with eyes bucked, and maybe mouths open, because we couldn't hear what we couldn't understand what we were hearing. But even though that it was surprising to hear the truth, pretty much that had been said on this show in the past, because what we saw with the leadership was about the leadership instead of being about the effort. And the leadership showed, I think, signs of what could you call it? Signs
Dysfunction,
of incompetence, dysfunction, and maybe schizophrenia.
It was wild. The things that were being posted, the things that were being said on Facebook Live were wild. The recall requires 500,884 valid signatures by October 31st, 2026. The number given on air last week was shockingly low. It was 20,000.
Yeah, I actually had to get off the camera because I was.
Yeah, 20,000.
I had to go walk over there because I was like, "You're effing lying."
And the problem,
it can't be 20,000.
That's what was told to us by the vice president of the organization. And she got that insider information from somebody who was actually verifying the signatures. The problem is that Louisiana Deserves Better, the organization that launched the effort, has fractured. Dozens of parish leaders and volunteers have reportedly left or been removed after disputes with co-founder and chair Marion Gabwan. Former volunteers have accused the leadership of retaliation, poor communication, financial secrecy, mishandling of funds, mishandling of safety concerns. And Gabwan disputes that account and says some volunteers refuse to follow her procedures. This girl was firing people who she never
that
hired.
Were volunteering.
That's sad.
How do you fire people that's volunteering?
I have no idea. And the split became especially serious after the arrest of a volunteer, Lila Habib, following a shooting incident on Interstate 10. Caitlin Stepter, who we interviewed on this radio station, who co-filed the recall petition, later broke with Gabwan, and we heard from her and Ashley Johnson regarding all of the problems that they were experiencing interacting with Gabwan as the leader. And they, are both still in favor of the recall effort. Both still want the signatures to be counted. But reportedly, even based on news reports, Gabwan is refusing to accept signatures from people who they trained to collect signatures.
So there's video.
Is someone compromised?
That's what they allege. That's what they allege.
So we saw video of these folks from all across the state that came to the location where she is, that were bringing tons of signatures for her to check in, and she wouldn't accept them.
And these are people that they actually trained to collect the signatures. Wow. And they're at her door, and they emailed her on Friday to tell her, we're driving down from northern Louisiana to hand deliver these signatures to you, and she refused to answer the door and started saying she was in fear of her life and safety concerns, like these women were going to jump her. These are a bunch of old white women.
And y'all must have some anthrax.
Wait, what?
Yes. It was bizarre.
I'm not going to do that because y'all might have anthrax. And then after all this was going on, I mean, Suzette called me like, 8 o'clock one night?
And said, you got to turn on
You
this
got
live.
to turn on this live because they were going in. I mean, they were really going in on her. And then I did, pick up my phone to go look at it. I couldn't find it at the time. But after I started scrolling and looking, where there was a live, right afterwards, you got Gabon with naked photos.
The live from Caitlin Stepter and Ashley Johnson went on for 2 hours. They walked you step by step through everything that they went through with this dictator of a leader. And my issue is this, and this was the issue that Tracy Riley raised last week too. If a Louisiana citizen signs a valid recall petition, that signature should not become collateral damage in a fight among organizers.
Mm-hmm.
That signature belongs to the process. The voter did not sign a I support only Marion petition. They supported a petition seeking the recall of an elected official.
Right.
And that should be the first priority, getting in all of the signatures from people who took them as trained, people with authority to collect these signatures. And this should not be about ego, but it has gone down with ego. And, it's really sad, Dr. Shepard, because like 3 months ago, I could see the train derailing 3 months ago when I was watching this leader get on Facebook Live and fuss about any and everybody who was trying to help her. Right. I mean, she went on a rant about Noonie Man, who was trying to collect signatures. She went on a rant about people trying to steal her movement. And she kept saying, this is my movement. I'm in charge. Da, 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 da. And I said, this is not about her. This is not about her. This is about the movement.
Right,
but
it's
her
bigger than
ego
her.
is getting in the way.
And this didn't even include the $100,000 that was raised to help them by Andronika Morris.
And then she went on a rant about Andronika Morris. Now, one of the things I have to appreciate about Caitlin Stepter and Ashley Johnson is in that 2-hour live, they went a long way to clear Andronika's name.
And then, of course, we had them on the show, and Caitlin made it a point to say, I just want to apologize to Andronika Morris.
She apologized in her live. She said it was a misunderstanding. They did not understand that the funds were donated to them under a 501c4 format and that they had to be a 501c4 in order to receive the funding. And that Andronika couldn't just turn over that funding without that legal entity being in place and the rules and procedures regarding a 501c4 being followed, because that would create serious tax exposure and potentially criminal liability. But they didn't want to understand that. The leader just wanted to get hold of the funds.
She wanted her bills paid.
She wanted her bills paid. And that's a problem. And one of the things that was also said about these ladies is apparently there's a commercial property being rented in Baton Rouge that they allege the owner is living in and utilizing money from the movement to pay for it. Now, that's what they allege. So they had very serious concerns about money being mismanaged, and they were concerned that their names were going to be attached to that, particularly the vice president of the movement. And she was concerned about tax liability or criminal liability for staying involved with this movement, even though she had no involvement in managing the funds herself. And I get that. If I was involved with someone as a co-founder of a movement and I thought that they were doing something shady that could get me in trouble, I have too much to lose. I'm going to pull out too. So I get that. I mean, I don't think that Caitlin wanted to leave the movement. I think she was distraught that she had to leave the movement, but I think she stayed silent for as long as she did because she didn't want to detract from the movement.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are.
And I mean, honestly, I can appreciate the fact that you didn't want to be distracted or take something from the movement. But I think that anybody that's sitting on the outside looking in, this movement was distracted a long time ago.
And
a long time ago.
One of the things we kept saying on this station was we were concerned that Landry and Muriel were going to be following this Facebook Live foolishness, and they were going to utilize it to their benefit to, destroy the movement. Well, the movement destroyed itself.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about what they're saying. Landry and Ms. Liz Merrill, because they're talking about it. Is it destroyed or no? How do people feel about that too? 504-582-9422 is the number. News is next, and we'll be right back, y'all.
Campus of Xavier University.
Yeah.
WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Chicago leaders are celebrating the reopening of the Austin Green Line station on the city's west side. Black Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Accessibility is a fundamental right, and it is our responsibility to ensure that every resident and visitor can move freely through our city.
The $21 million project modernizes the historic station with new ADA accessible features, including an elevator, escalator, and improved access to CTA rail service. Questions continue to surround the death of Black 18-year-old Nolan Wells in Mississippi. Attorneys say some of the friends who were with Wells on a July 4th boating trip are conducting their own review of what happened on Horn Island, while official autopsy and toxicology results remain pending. And Taylor Farms is recalling products containing jalapenos over concerns about possible salmonella contamination, with affected items including certain salsas and guacamole products. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. It is Monday in the building. Dr. Shepard is here.
Hello.
And we've got the attorney extraordinaire, Suzette Bagnaris. And, of course, we got Galloway on line one. What you say, Galloway?
What's going on, Brother Gerod?
How you doing, brother?
And to the gorgeous ladies, how y'all doing?
We're doing well. Thank you for asking.
Okay, y'all was talking about the prison and money, and this is not shocking to me that this being mismanaged by the state and the local. You know, the United States spends $445 billion annually on mass incarceration, which includes jails and prisons. Now, the state of Louisiana had a proposed, for the fiscal year 26-27, proposed, what is a $51 billion budget to include $100 million for public safety, criminal justice, with the focus on prisons. $18 million was supposed to be focused on money for the guards. But how do you get more money from the federal government for your prison? Two things. Number one is occupancy. If you got you're full by 90%, they're going to give you money. If you have education programs, HVAC, plumbing, solar panel installation, you get millions of dollars. And then when you get a program, I teach GD classes, and then we have college classes. So you have a university or a college that's willing to send their curriculum to that prison, you get millions of more dollars. So it's more than one way to skin a cat.
Galloway, under Susan's administration, I went over there and held a meeting, with her top brass. I brought Suno to the table. At the time, Dr. Kim Rugon, and I brought Delgado to the table. At the time, Dr. Orlando Williams. And we went over there and offered for Suno and Delgado, to provide technical training to any inmate who wanted to learn HVAC, plumbing, electrical, And we had education programs through Suno. They were going to be enrolled as students, And never heard back from them.
they turned away millions. I mean millions. I ain't talking about no 5 or 10. I'm talking 20, 30 million.
Absolutely. And we were going to tie it to reentry, which we also knew was a big federal source of funding. Both Dr. Rugon and Orlando Williams are the queens of reentry programs. And they were going to start a reentry program as well. We even had a company that was going to come in and give them all iPads so that they could create, foster their education while in the prison. Heard nothing. Crickets.
And I was about to say that also. They give you everything that you need. It does not come out of any type of your budget. I'm talking, like you said, laptops. I mean, internet. All this stuff is given to them, and it's basically free. And reentry is because prison and jail is supposed to be about rehabilitation, and the education piece comes into the rehabilitation part. And if they're not doing that, they just basically hoping and praying somebody give them a bone. And as you clearly stated, the state ain't giving them nothing. But I'm telling you, the federal government, they don't care if Republican, Democrat, anything. If you want to put some people in jail, they gonna give you some money.
And if you want to stop this vicious cycle of people coming out of prison and committing more crime, you have to give them a skill set. You have to give them a job. And we had companies who were willing to have them in an apprenticeship program, partnered with Delgado and Suno, so that when they came out, they would immediately have a job. And when I tell you it was a no-brainer, but yet they didn't bite on it, it was crazy.
Yes, you would have that certification. I do it all the time. Resume training. You get hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach people how to do their resume. The prison gets that money. You got to pay for the paper. You got to pay for the ink. All this stuff that they give you, and that money can be used more than just for the paper and the ink and all that other stuff. If you get what I'm saying. So you can say you get you $10 million for a program. Okay, it ain't gonna cost me really $10 million. Guess what I can do with that money that's left over? I can up that guard that the correction officer pays maybe by $5 to $10, or probably even more. That's how it's done with people with common sense. But if they don't want to take the education piece and include it in there to get more money, they just want to be dumb. God help them people, man. But thanks for taking my phone call. I just had to say that today. It's 105 degrees here. It's hot tub time. I'll holler back at y'all tomorrow.
All right, Galloway. Yes, indeed. He say hot tub time?
That's what he said.
Mm-hmm. Well, is he right?
He's definitely right. And I think that there are federal funding sources right under their noses that they could easily apply for and get. And I think it would help the inmate population to get the tools they need to succeed once they have completed their time in prison. So in that regard, it helps the families and it helps communities.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to see. There is a organization. I'm trying to see where it come up. That's not it. It's called LIS. I just don't know how to spell it. Well, this is one of the largest nonprofit organizations, if not the largest nonprofit organizations that lends other nonprofit organizations money. They've got like $56 billion in funds. If you really want to find one of those, if I can get the right, it's called LIS. I know that. And the only reason I know about it is because my cousin used to run it.
Well, I just tell you, I think there is a way out of this problem. I don't know who's advising them. I don't know who's helping them. But I do think that reentry, education, mental health services, those are the key areas that you need to seek grants for. And I think that there is federal funding available that could help them.
Now, when we talk about these things, for a lot of people that don't know, it's not just going to get the grants. And I do agree with you about Rugon. Dr. Rugon is one of the best when it comes to getting these grants. She knows how to get those grants and she knows how to keep them.
Right, exactly.
It's not just about you getting the grant. You get a $2, $3, $4 million grant. They're not going to send you $2, $3, $4 million all at once. They're going to send you that money in portions. You have to keep applying for that money.
And you have to comply with
you have
reporting.
to comply with reporting that money as you're getting it. So you got to have somebody that really understands.
A good grant manager.
You got to have somebody that know what they're doing. And if you don't, that's how a lot of us get in trouble.
But to me, instead of hiring a PR person, she needed to hire a grant manager. I mean, you got to dig yourself out. Instead of hiring, a number 2, maybe she needed to hire a grant manager. She needs to get money in there.
Mhm.
Once you get money in there, then you can do all these other things that you would like to do. Then you can be aspirational. But you have to get somebody in there that can help you to address the deficiencies in the monitor's report so that you can get from underneath the monitor.
Mm-hmm.
And until you get that federal funding, you can't do that.
And a lot of the issues that came up with, folks understanding the issues about getting money. I think we get the money sometimes and then we lose it and have to give it back. And if you don't, they're coming after you personally. They will come after you. So
the city also has that problem. The city doesn't seem to comply with its reporting requirements on grants either, and they come dangerously close to losing these grants all the time. And then at the last minute, you'll see them start trying to take feverish actions to keep the grant.
Mhm.
If somebody was monitoring it all the time and doing the reporting that's necessary, you wouldn't be in jeopardy of losing the grants, and you'd have a better understanding of your budget. Now Giarrusso is going back through grants that we've had for a decade, trying to see what those grants were awarded for, how much money is still remaining, and whether or not the reporting was done. How do you get in a hole like that if you had a grants manager?
So one of the best things that he could do, and I mean, this is no ifs, ands, and buts. All you got to do is talk to Romy Schofield.
Who was that? Who's Ronnie Schofield?
Romy Schofield was in the accounting and management of dollars for the city of New Orleans. As a matter of fact, she's the one that wrote the memos that went to all the city council folks to say, hey, we're going down this rabbit hole with our budget because somebody's not telling you all the truth. And they disregarded her. So when it did happen, they started calling her, come to the city council chambers and tell us what the hell's going on, yitty, 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 yitty. And she's sitting there saying, I told y'all, I warned y'all. As a matter of fact, I just happened to have all the memos and started putting them up on the screen, which made them, in my opinion, made them look bad.
Incompetent.
Right. Because she just basically said, I told you what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do. And then they had the audacity to say to her, well, you should have raised the flag and waved it a little bit harder. She's like, what you want me to do? I did everything that I'm supposed to do.
I'm going to say
then
this.
they blamed it on her and just, I think that, they looked to point the finger. She didn't fall on the sword, but she fell very close to it.
Yeah, I think so. I really think, and this is just my fundamental belief, everybody is not worthy of being thrown away. There are some people in our society who are unrehabilitatable. But for the most part, well, there are some. There are some.
It's just not some. It's not.
There are some.
I would say it's a small number.
I would say it's a small number that are unrehabilitatable. I think that
a small
most
number?
people.
Yeah, I would think that, and this is something that I feel like I had talked with Susan Hudson about before. There are nonviolent offenders. There are people who are who have done drug offenses, who just need rehabilitation in those manners. And so the idea is to actually dwindle down and reduce the population of people who even need to be inside that system. But you have to have the proper supports to help them to be able to transition into society.
I agree with you, Dr. Shepard, 100%. And that's where I'm coming from. I think you got to meet people where they are. I think most people who end up behind bars are people who just did not have the proper resources to do better. Either they were undiagnosed with a mental illness, and they were not getting the proper medication and treatment that they needed, or life just dealt them a horrible hand, and they did not have the education and the mentorship and village to do things the right way, and they ended up out of desperation doing things that put them behind bars.
Yeah, we call that poverty-induced crime. It's because you're poor that you then committed this crime.
Talk to me, Dr. Shepard.
Okay.
You're right. Okay, so here we go.
But that's part of your research.
I don't have the words for it, but Dr. Shepard has the words for it.
That's part of your research.
But I think that most of the people who end up behind bars are in that second category. Okay, the poverty-induced crime.
And also we criminalize mental health too.
Yes.
So those are like two segments of people who are inside of the prison population who, if they just had the resources, then they wouldn't necessarily have to be there. Because if you gave them mental health support, they wouldn't wind up in the mental health wing of jail.
And but for the grace of God, we could all be there in one of those two categories, in my opinion. So to me, if you really want to make a difference, you got to give people services that provide them with opportunity to do better. Otherwise, they come out and they repeat the same cycles, and then their children also join their cycle, and then their grandchildren, and it's a never-ending cycle.
No, that's what you can see at OPSO.
Well, this is why I thought that providing them with an opportunity to get a GED and then get a college education while incarcerated, either through technical college or through a 4-year university, and giving them that option, and then have companies willing to work with them as an apprentice while they're in the end stages of their incarceration so that they can then move into jobs, was the right approach. And I still stand by that. And I think that there is money out there that we identified that in private corporation out there, because we were willing to put a lot of our own money behind the program. I think there are people who are willing to make a difference in that arena. I know because we assembled the team. So I think I need, Michelle to stop. Don't just listen to the messenger, because, girl, I know you got problems with me right now. Don't just listen to the messenger. Listen to the message, okay? And see if you can implement these kinds of programs and assemble that kind of team that's willing to come in there and make a difference, since you may not have the financial wherewithal to do it yourself.
So OPSO does have a high school. One of the issues that we have in the city of New Orleans is that a lot of the folks that are ending up incarcerated because of the laws changing are now 17 or somewhere close to 17. Which means that a lot of those 17-year-olds that are being incarcerated can't go to school. And so they end up without their diploma or GED. So now in OPSO, they have a high school. There is a high school within the jail. For those kids that want to get their GED or be able to graduate, they can do so. And then all of those older adults that want to improve their education skills, they can get their GED. So that is already in the within the walls of the OPSO, and they have a graduation every 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, somewhere in that area. But those young folks, by law, by the consent decree, cannot just be in jail. They have to be in and get their education at the same time. So I know that has to happen. That's part of the consent decree. And I know that we don't do such a great job with, not criminalizing young folks that's running the street. But if you go down on Bourbon Street, especially at night, you see kids, I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 8, 9, 10 years old, skateboards, banging on drums, which are just, pots.
That's the problem with this city. That should not be.
But that's what's happening. They're out there. So nobody's asking them, when you going to school. They out there to make money. They out there having fun. riding bicycles, creating havoc. And I just think that anytime you look at it, who's out there?
It's us.
It's us. But how about if it was a reversal role? How about if the majority of the folks, the young folks that were out there, were little white boys? Do you think that we still had that problem?
No, because NOPD would be concerned about them being out that late and asking
What would
them,
they be?
where are your parents? Where can I bring you home?
Can I bring you
Where
to
can I
them?
drop you off, Billy?
Right.
Not
They
Billy.
would be concerned about Billy, but they're not concerned about Jaquan.
And Jaquan is out there in the streets. I'm telling you, every night, if you go out there, you see Jaquan and his buddies out there doing the same thing.
And I can't put it on the parents, y'all.
And they out
I
there
can't.
tap dancing with the soda bottle
I
tops.
cannot just put it on the parents. I see y'all saying that online, but let me say this. I represent a lot of people who have to work 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet. Some of these parents work a daytime job and then they turn around and they work a nighttime job. So they're relying upon aged grandmother, okay, to take care of these kids while they're working their second job. And aged grandmother is either too old or too sick to realize that Jaquan done got out the house.
That he's gone. Right.
Ron told me to ask you,
Why he gotta be
Jaquan?
Jaquan?
Why it got to be Jaquan?
Because I had a Billy, so I had to have a Jaquan. Okay? But I'm just saying, people got my point because they understood where I was going with the Billy and Jaquan. If I had said Billy and Jerry, then they may not have known where I was going. Or Billy and Pablo, they may not have gone where I was going.
Oh, Pablo in there too?
Pablo out there too in the street. Pablo doing construction.
He's getting a completely different treatment from ICE.
Pablo was at the Hard Rock.
He on somebody's roof.
Pablo was at the Hard Rock building. I'm just telling y'all, I represented Pablo in the Hard Rock building. I'm just telling you that it's the truth that treatment of white kids out at night is different from treatment of black kids out at night. It shouldn't be.
But it is.
But it is.
Yeah. And this is how we overcrowd the prison.
Yep.
And this is how we overcrowd the prisons. But we got to save our babies.
All right, y'all. We got more coming up. 504-582-9422. Me, Laquan, Pablo, and anybody else. We'll be back in a minute, y'all. Hola.
Jaquan, your mama said, come home.
It's off the top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
In nearly 50 years of covering Louisiana's justice system, I have never witnessed the indictment of a sitting state attorney general by an Orleans Parish grand jury or by a grand jury in any other Louisiana parish. That was big news. Then came even bigger news. All of the charges were dropped by the special prosecutor assigned to oversee the case. Former Judge Lori White, the special prosecutor, says she dropped the indictment against State Attorney General Liz Murrill because New Orleans Mayor Helena Moreno and other city officials urged her to do so to ease tensions between the city and state. The mayor offered a peace sign asking Governor Jeff Landry to meet so they could resolve their differences. Landry said no, not until the city gets things in order. Requesting that the AG charges be dropped was another peace sign. Landry still said no, thank you. Landry and Murrill have no interest in being friends with New Orleans leaders. I understand not wanting to be friends with people who you think want you to be put behind bars for 80 years. The circumstances and the players are different, but what we have here is the latest chapter in a long history of the bruising political wars between the state and the city. It's not good for the city or the state. Who knows how this latest drama will play out? What matters is whether this legal grudge match helps citizens who want leaders who will improve their quality of life. Now, this unfortunate drama is damaging our state, our city, our judiciary, and our chances for more economic development. It boils down to this. It's a cartoon with characters bashing each other, and it's not funny. We deserve better. This is Norman Robinson, off the top.
On last week's From the Press Box to Press Row with Donald Ware.
Baker Mayfield felt disrespected by the Buccaneers could not come to some kind of long-term agreement. If I had to take a side, I'm going to lean more towards what Tampa is talking about because of, yes, in 3 years we've been better than maybe we could have been, but not as good as we could be. And the upside on Baker Mayfield, to me, is not there. And even Brock Purdy, I think, still has some room to be better. Also, more than a Baker Mayfield.
From the press box to press row is one of the hottest sports talk shows in the country. Join Donald each week as he takes you on a journey through the world of HBCU sports and pro sports and interviews with top sports and entertainment figures. That's from the press box to press row each week on your favorite station.
Box to Row, Saturdays at 2 p.m. on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com. What New Orleans is talking
about.
The
New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
For 5 years, one event has brought our community together around one goal: better health. I'm Judy Morse. Join the Urban League of Louisiana and presenting sponsor Oxnard Health on Saturday, August 15th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the 5th annual Big Health event at the Ernest M. Morial Convention Center. Enjoy free health screenings, free admission, free parking, and activities for the whole family. The Big Health event. One day, one place, all health.
Hey New Orleans, it's Doc Griggs. Tune in every Thursday from 12 to 1 p.m. for Doc Talk and get checked, get fit, get moving.
Transform your bathroom with the beautiful quality of Bath Planet. As a trusted leader in bathroom renovation, Bath Planet has earned the Good Housekeeping seal, a symbol of quality and consumer confidence for over 100 years. Get half off installation or 18 months with no interest and no payments. Whether it's tub replacement, a shower replacement, or a tub-to-shower conversion, Bath Planet makes your custom bath fast, easy, and affordable. Here's how it works. 1. Call to schedule your free, no-obligation consultation. 2. Our design experts come to you with real samples to customize your dream bath. 3. Our certified installers complete the transformation in as little as 1 day. And right now, for a limited time, you can upgrade your bathroom for 50% off installation or choose 18 months with no interest and no payments. But you need to call now. This special offer is only available by calling 800-981-8177. That's 800-981-8177. Call 800-981-8177 right now before the offer ends.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. In here with the hiccups.
Yep. We have people online saying that crime, that we're asking Republicans to fix a Democratic problem. You know, crime and incarceration are not Democratic problems, and they're not Republican problems. They're American problems.
They're humane.
You know, a mother who loses her child to violence does not care if the murderer was Democratic or Republican. A business owner who gets robbed does not care which party controls the legislature. Somebody who has their child doing life in prison isn't really concerned about being Democrat or Republican.
That's absolutely ridiculous because your American services just need the work. Yeah. That's all. And then whoever's in charge is supposed to be overseeing it. Right. They're supposed to ensure that your basic services work.
Yeah. Right. All right, here we go. Tony.
Hey, Gerard.
What's
Can
going
you hear
on?
Me?
Yeah, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Good to see everybody. It's Tony from Algiers. Just wanted to go back about the Orleans Parish Sheriffs and the funding that's going on around the city here. You know, I've been here 26 years. I'm not from here originally. But each year that I have been here, when there have been a millage put on the ballot for Orleans Parish residents, I've noticed that Orleans Parish residents vote down millages seemingly every time, especially when it comes to the sheriff's office, police, fire department. And I don't understand that because the other parishes, surrounding parishes, are passing their millages for these particular services and everything, they're progressing along. So my question to you is, why do you think that Orleans Parish residents continually vote down millages compared to the other parishes, surrounding parishes around?
I think more so than anything, Tony, is because the average person, when they hear millage, they think extra money, taxes, and they don't want to pay more. If you remember the first time for the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, they put out about that millage and it failed. The people didn't vote for it. The second time they put it out, which was 2 years later, it passed, but it passed by 4 votes, and then they had somebody challenging it, and they failed, but it did pass, so they did get the millage passed. A vote is a vote. Somebody say yay and nay is what they wanted, so they got somebody to say yay enough times that it passed. So I think to answer your question about the millage problem is that we've always looked at a millage as a tax, and it's going to cost me more to have it. And if the person or persons or agency is not showing where they have used that money, I think we live in a state where you got to be able to say that we are, show me.
Mm-hmm.
Show me what you've done with the money.
And also, I'll just add that the cost of living inside the city has
Yes.
gone up tremendously.
Right.
And you said that you're from out of town, so you don't remember pre-Katrina prices. So the fact that the cost of living has gone up so exponentially since Hurricane Katrina, and it just seems like with inflation, it just keeps rising. People are not okay with an increase inside of taxes, especially because we know that now people's property values and such can be calculated at a higher rate. And so they tend to think that that's going to mean more money for people. And it's also going to push some of the poor people from out of the city. And that's something that we are very protective over, is making sure that people who are at the bottom don't have to pay even more, knowing that I was looking at something before Katrina, and it was like an apartment that was rented out for $350 or whatever for the apartment. It was like a 2-bedroom apartment for $350, and it was right before Katrina. And now you wouldn't expect anything like that to be under like $1,200, $1,500. So because we've seen the cost of living increase so much, and we're also protective of making sure that people do not have to pay additional taxes, that's why you would see people in the city voted down.
Yeah, I think you're both 100% right. I think that Orleans Parish already carries a higher tax burden than many other Louisiana parishes, and that helps to explain why New Orleans voters are often skeptical of new millages, even when they support underlying services. You can even see with car insurance that if you live in Orleans Parish, you pay a higher rate just for car insurance, just because you're in Orleans Parish. But I'm going to tell you what really, in my opinion, and this is a very unpopular opinion, I know it is, what I think makes it difficult for Orleans Parish to provide the same level of services that other parishes provide, I think is because of the homestead exemption. The homestead exemption in Orleans Parish shrinks the taxable property base, while the cost of running local government does not shrink with it. The exemption is valuable to individual homeowners, but it creates a fiscal structure when a large that makes it a burden when the large portion of residential value is exempt, while Orleans relies heavily on property taxes to fund many separate public functions. Louisiana exempts the first $75,000 of market value of an owner-occupied primary residence from most parish and special ad valorem taxes. So in Orleans, that means the first $7,500 of assessed value is generally removed from the taxable base. The consequence is pretty straightforward. Suppose 2 houses each are worth $300,000, and a homesteaded owner is generally taxed on an excess value of $30,000 minus the $7,500 exemption, leaving $22,500 subject to applicable millages. A non-homesteaded property, such as a rental or second home, generally does not receive that same exemption. I think another problem is we have these large structures that don't get taxed, like these big mega churches. They're making a ton of money, but they're not paying taxes. I think that's the
right.
problem.
Exactly.
And I think that's the problem. I think I need to tax the churches. You sure making a whole lot of money, and your bishop is driving around in a $250,000 automobile. Meanwhile, the church is not paying any taxes. I'm sorry. Just like you're expecting your people in your church to give you their first 10%, why isn't the church giving the city some of its money? I'm sorry,
You're
but
absolutely right. Exactly right.
we're giving people passes, and churches are big business. They are big business. And while I understand several of them give back to the community in other ways, we need that money in our tax base. So, we're struggling to provide these essential services, and other places don't give them a pass like we do.
I don't know if churches would be such a big entity.
I don't think universities are taxed either.
But
I think the industries
I do think that industries, right? I'm
Especially
saying corporations
polluting
but a lot of corporations get tax breaks.
Right.
They get these incentives of bringing jobs, but those jobs don't necessarily are necessarily being flooded with people that live in the area that those jobs are being brought to.
Oh, and I'm right about that. Not public and nonprofit universities in New Orleans do not pay ordinary ad valorem property taxes on property that qualifies for Louisiana's constitutional exemption. So you have institutions like Tulane, Loyola, Xavier, Dillard, and public university facilities that have substantial real estate holdings that are wholly or partly off the property tax rolls. How can we make life better when we don't have a tax base?
I'm pretty sure some of the business entities too, like the New Orleans tourism, some of those big places and stuff like that, they're not even hardly paying any of their bills and everything now, water, electricity, and everything. They're hurting the city with all this, not paying their fair share. Mm-hmm. So it just we need to maybe that's an issue for another day that we need to talk about. How can we improve services and everything around here, get people to feel confident to, I don't know if villages is the issue, but I know that the money is going elsewhere, and our people are going elsewhere to go do their shopping, going to the grocery store, all these other places and everything else outside of Justin Parish, and they're loving it, and they're hoping that continues and that New Orleans continues to depend on them, and for our people to depend on them for their basic services.
Right.
So
New Orleans has an unusually large concentration of entities that are not taxed. Government, universities, hospitals are not taxed.
That's right.
Hospitals are not taxed. So Ochsner, this big old monopoly, Ochsner, is not taxed.
Not taxed.
Museums are not taxed. Charitable institutions are not taxed. I mean, come on. Why is Ochsner not being taxed?
Yeah, Audubon is not being taxed.
Right. Why is Audubon not being taxed?
All those entities. Are they making money hands over foot?
And they got a millage.
Well, if we want services to increase, if we want these planned communities that offer amenities to our kids, like pools and recreation centers and all these other things, we need to pay taxes. That's why when you go to Houston or you go to Dallas or you go to Atlanta, you see these really upscale neighborhoods that have all these amenities for children. We can't provide that because we're not collecting from our complete whole tax base.
And that's a big problem. It sure is. That's what I see as well. And because man, living out approving millages. What do you expect the sheriff to do once you can't pay anybody? You don't have any money. Now, you made a great suggestion about going to D.C. to try to get the money, but, D.C. is now controlled by, MAGA, and they're not giving Democratic cities anything. So they're going to go up there and laugh at us, Yeah, right. But we have no choice. We have to do the grant writing.
Yep.
So I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
All right, Tony.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
It does make sense, though. You know, you want to increase something, you want it to look funny, stop giving all these different tax breaks.
It's the tax breaks.
It's the tax breaks that killing the show.
Because is those golfing places still getting the tax breaks?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the big and the best businesses that you have are here tax free.
Weren't we giving the casino a tax break in exchange for them giving the city money?
Right.
Now, come on. Now, why does a casino need a tax break?
I don't think it was a tax break. I think it was the naming rights of the Superdome, right?
No, I think they were getting a tax break. As a matter of fact, this new hotel that they're trying to put on Convention Center Boulevard, they enticed it here by telling it doesn't have to pay taxes.
How many times? We should have a moratorium on stuff that, you know, this is where we are with tax breaks for the next year or next 2 years or the next 3 or 4. But then again, it may stop development until people start looking around and saying, I'll just wait till y'all's moratorium's up.
Look, I would love it if somebody would do this research and report back on us.
Well,
I identified 25 to 50 of the largest tax-exempt property owners in Orleans Parish. Calculate their exempt assessed value, estimate the amount of property taxes they would otherwise owe, and tell me you couldn't plug the budget shortfall that we have here in Orleans Parish right now.
All right, Chris, what you say?
What's going on, y'all?
What's happening with you?
Oh man, you know, on the move as always. I think this points to a lot of the need in the city. You brought up parks and recreations, right? Which is why you have a lot of private teams, private rec teams, and things like that going on because they're recs and parks and recreations, education always seems to get cut first from any budget. So I agree that a restructuring of who gets taxed and how much they get taxed, and then also a restructuring of the budget, and then also continuing to fight for the amount of money that we make for the state in and of itself.
So the majority of the money that you make for the state is in legislation. So I think that there should be some lobbyists and some of these folks that are running for these offices that need to be able to go back to the table and tell the state, hey, you're robbing us blind, especially with the hotel motel tax. When we have some of the biggest hotels in the state right here that are making millions of dollars and all the tourism that comes to town. And we hear every single time that, you know, we're 96% full, 98% full, or 100% occupancy. So I do think that there needs to be a conversation about the hotel motel tax, because you got regular tax and then you have a motel hotel tax on top of that. So you may be paying 9% tax on your purchase, but you have to pay another 10% tax on top of that. And then the state, out of that 10%, only gives us $1.25.
Let me just give this example. This is horrible negotiation practice on the part of the city administration. The 1,000 room Omni headquarters hotel that's going to be next to the Ernest Morial Convention Center in the River District, is getting a tax incentive of 45 years.
That's ridiculous.
The planned hotel is about a $600 million project on the former sugar mill site, and they're getting a 45-year rebate of certain taxes generated by the hotel itself, which is going to let them pocket, are you ready for this? $836.7 million.
Oh, my God.
Over 45 years.
Wow.
Who negotiated that deal for the city? You need to be fired immediately.
Because a small fraction of that could really cover and solve a lot of the problems. Again, I'm gonna bring this back because I'm in the youth sports world, and like a small fraction of that can solve a lot of the issues that's going on with Nord, right? So like as I'm pursuing starting the Booster Club at Joe Brown, right? The Booster Club is going to help aid in bringing like Joe Brown is like one of the largest, if not the largest Nord park in New Orleans, with all of the extra things that we have that we can host. But because of lack of funding and the inability to have a lot of these conversations on the table for that growth and development to happen there, like these type of things, this the trickle down effect of these types of deals that get done at for the city. There's absolutely no benefit for us on the resident side, on the youth side, on the employment side, or anything like that. There's no upside for the city on a deal that gets handled like that.
No, they should have made this hotel pay an incentive towards Nord.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, instead of us giving them money. For 500 jobs a year, you're going to give away $836.7 million over a 45-year period?
That's crazy.
To get 500 jobs a year.
To get 500 jobs a year that are not going to pay a close to a livable wage.
Absolutely.
For the majority of those 500 positions. Not to mention, most of those positions are going to be covered by foreign workers that'll come over on a work visa, where a portion of their check will be paid to the agency that are bringing them over from whatever country that they're coming from.
That is bad negotiation. This is how we got in the budget shortfall we're in. I don't know who's negotiating these deals, but they're doing a horrible job.
All right, Chris, we got to take our break, brother.
Thank y'all.
Always good hearing from you. All right, we got more coming up, folks. Everybody hold tight.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. It's day 164, and Iran laid out demands before it'll reopen the Strait of Hormuz, lift the U.S. naval blockade, end all sanctions, pull U.S. troops from the region, pay war reparations, and release Iran's frozen assets. Iran's foreign minister said talks with Oman on shipping routes do not mean the strait reopens. President Donald Trump responded, saying the U.S. is low-keying negotiations and shifting to economic pressure instead. He said that in an article in Axios, calling Iran in very bad shape, unable to even pay its soldiers. On the strait itself, Trump said flatly, "I'm not going to let them charge." Bottom line, there are no active talks right now. Both sides are digging in and Americans are feeling it. Gas hit $4.01 a gallon over the weekend, with Moody's estimating the war is costing average households about $1,000. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
Hey, this is D. Riley from the 90s Hits R&B Jams. Make sure you listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday night from 7 until 9 p.m. I'll be giving you the best R&B jams from the 90s. That's right, all your favorites and more. With me, D. Riley, your host of the 90s Hits, right here on WBOK 1230 AM. Or listen online at WBOK1230.com. WBOK, the station you listen to longer.
Extended through Labor Day, Louisiana residents get half off general admission to the National World War II Museum. Take advantage of 50% off and beat the summer heat at New Orleans' #1 attraction. Don't wait. Plan your visit at nationalworldwar2museum.org.
This is The Law in Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton. Comparing the cost of wills, successions, and trusts.
A will might only be a few $100s, but your family could end up paying more in legal fees.
Trust costs more upfront, but saves time, stress, and potentially thousands.
Think of it as paying a little now to avoid a big bill later. Smart planning means big savings for your family. This is not legal advice. That's just a tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
Uptown, downtown, wherever you are, keep it locked in to WBOK.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back.
Captain America negotiated that deal. I bet.
Yeah, you know, we said we will come to the show one day. I'm gonna have on my Superman outfit with my little tighty tights, and she's gonna do the Wonder Woman.
The Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do Black Panther.
There you go.
There you go.
Wow. Here you go. Ronnie.
Yes, Gerard.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just had to call in. How y'all doing?
Good, man.
When I heard Ms. Bednaris hit the nail on the head with the term tax base, I've said it before, Gerard. When you take a look at Jefferson Parish, Veteran Boulevard, and Manhattan Boulevard, and all of the other new construction, home building, I mean, you know, it's not rocket science. Like Mr. Bednaris said, hey, the city lacks a tax base, you know, and without that, improving the quality of life for its citizens is going to be next to impossible.
See, but you can't run on that platform, okay? And this is why Suzette Bagneris cannot be the mayor of the city of New Orleans. Because the minute I would start saying we need to reevaluate the homestead exemption, we need to reevaluate this complete tax break to universities and hospitals and nonprofits and religious institutions, they would say, oh, we're not voting for her.
Pick our signs up out the
They
ground.
want to hear the person who's the snake oil salesman telling them, I can fix all the problems without raising your taxes. Well, guess what? They can't. That's a lie. They can't fix your problems unless they fix the tax base. Unless you expand the tax base, you cannot fix the problem. So whoever's telling you they got a magic wand to wave to fix all your problems without raising your taxes and without expanding the tax base, they're selling you a bunch of bull.
It's so crazy. I was watching All in the Family last night, and they had an episode that was talking about Nixon's promises. Like that wasn't the focus. It was the one where they were talking about voting. But on it, they talked about what Nixon's promises were. And it was the same platform as Trump. It was like affordability, no wars, not raising taxes. It was the exact
They tell you what they know you want to hear.
And then they get in and can't govern.
And they can't govern. And that's exactly why we're where we are here in the city of New Orleans. Because the minute somebody comes in and starts talking about fiscal accountability and fiscal responsibility and how it's going to have to, how we're going to have to tighten our purse strings and we're going to have to look for money from by expanding our tax base. Well, then you got every pastor in the city revolting, saying, don't vote for her. You got every college saying, don't vote for her. You got all of that. But if we don't get the money, like Tulane University has a lot of money and we're not going to get money from them. Oshner? We're not going to get money from Oshner?
Ms. Bednaris, though, you have a unique mixture of good old common sense and academia. It's people like you and Gerard that we need in office,
Every time I tell G he should run, he talks about what would come out of the closet if he said them skeletons.
All them skeletons coming out of my closet, they would all just run out of there and go, boogity, 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 boo.
We all have them, okay?
Well, I think the reason that I could never be a politician is because I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear.
That's right.
And I'm not too concerned with how you feel about it.
That's true.
I love it. I think it's what we need.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
So the answer to that question is no.
You all be good. Bye-bye.
All right. Talk to you later, Ronnie. No. When did we do that? We did that. Didn't we do that before?
But maybe the city should get someone with some real negotiation skills.
So tomorrow, though, I think that's going to be a good segue into tomorrow's conversation.
Okay.
Frank Janusa, who ran for mayor, who says, hey, I can fix all these different problems of the city when it comes down to the finances because I am a licensed CPA and I've got my own firm. And this is what I'd like to bring to the table. Since we keep hearing that the city's broke, but yet we keep hearing of the multi-million-dollar deals that we're getting ready to get into, I asked Mr. Janusa would he come to the table tomorrow.
Oh.
He's going to be here at 4:20 tomorrow.
Oh, come on. Go ahead, G.
But that's what we supposed to be doing. See, y'all two together with that bell. But
I love it when Dr. Shepard.
She channeled that because I would have hit the bell. Thank you.
Never mind. But anyway, he's going to be here tomorrow, and I don't think that he's going to run away from hard questions.
No.
Because he said, I have a plan when he came the first time when he was running for, as a matter of fact, Oliver Thomas. Oliver said if he won, he would like Frank Janusa to come work in city government to help get that done.
Man, structure and order.
And that's what y'all didn't want, but it's what y'all needed.
What?
Oliver and Frank.
Right. But he was going to try to bring Mr. Janusa
to
the table to help them get this budgeting issue together.
I guarantee you, Jeff and Liz would not have been able to bully Oliver like they bullying Helene.
Oh, my. No.
And then
absolutely not.
And then the other
from the
thing
9,
too,
he ain't afraid to die.
And then the other thing too, that gangster, was the fact that if we're looking at what this city has, I always make my reference back to Ray Nagin. Mm-hmm. Ray Nagin was the head of this city when we had nothing because we were still underwater. There was no commerce here. There was nothing coming in. No one was making any money. And we still didn't go broke. He did not file bankruptcy. And we were underwater for what? 6 weeks? 9 weeks? With no commerce coming in, no money being made, and we still didn't file bankruptcy. How in the world do we have all this stuff happening in this city, all these different fundamental issues that we see every year that we love from all the different festivals, all this money pouring in on a daily basis from if you have a train that comes in on the tracks, the minute they hit those tracks, they owe the city of New Orleans money.
And we just said why. Because you got a newscaster as the mayor. You got a lawyer as the chief financial officer who's not an accountant. You got Mr. Red Bottoms negotiating deals. I've never heard of a case he negotiated that was big, and I can say that because I negotiate $100 million deals. Ask somebody.
Say that then.
So you need some people with some kind of resume to them and a proven track record.
Because I think these deals
that's doing these things.
Those deals that you're talking about that are being negotiated, I think in the long run they're going to be detrimental to the city.
Oh, they $36 million on that one deal. I have not dissected all of the deals this administration has made, but just dissecting that one deal, it was negotiated by Boo Boo the Fool.
No, you didn't say Boo Boo the Fool.
You didn't say fool the first time you said
I did not because I was off the mic. But on the mic, Boo Boo the Fool is negotiating on behalf of the city of New Orleans.
Have mercy. All right.
So that's $20 million a year?
$20 million a year we're losing from the budget. From
just
one
from
deal. One deal. You want me, if I'll analyze the rest, I'll analyze them one at a time and tell you how much these Boo Boo the Fools are losing for us while they're negotiating. They need to get somebody who really knows how to negotiate on.
So just remember tomorrow that we're going to ask these different questions. I think that Mr. Janusa has a plan, and I'm just trying to figure out at what point in time do we say, hey, look, do y'all have some accountants helping put together these deals?
We analyzed Joe Gerusso's resume.
Where's Cary
I
Grant?
didn't hear that he won a math contest in the 8th grade.
All right. So we're here now.
That's actually a good way to segue into a show with an accountant tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow's show.
Give me somebody as the CFO who won the math contest.
And we ain't going to the math contest. Oh, Lord Jesus. We're not going there today. Don't go
Do you
to the
wanna
spelling
see
bee either.
his math scores?
Look, I'm willing to admit what I can't do. I can't be the CFO. I'm not a math person. I'm not a numbers person. Okay? You got to know your skill set and roll with it.
You just found us $800 million. I can't tell.
I'm a great negotiator. I can see the big picture and I can figure out how to break down how to negotiate the best deal. That's my skill set as an attorney and somebody who does complex litigation. But I'm not a mathematician. I would never cast myself as the CFO of the city of New Orleans. I don't know why he thinks he's qualified to be the CFO of the city of New Orleans. Clearly he's not, because we're losing $20 million a year on one deal.
Well, I would think you should follow the money and see who's friends with who, because it's a deal that doesn't make any monetary sense. So maybe there's something else happening behind the scenes.
All right, y'all, we got to go. Thank you, everybody, for being here on today. Me, Boo Boo the Fool, and these two ladies are going with Jaquan and Lil Billy.
On behalf of Jaquan, Billy, and Boo Boo the Fool, we'll see you tomorrow.
Always good, y'all. Take care.